Hello, everyone. Kyle here from Poseidon's Pets. Welcome to the weekly live stream. So today we are feeding the mixed. Hey, you can see my arm. It's a little delayed. Today we are feeding the mixed Caridina tank, and I dropped a hefty pellet in there. So I dropped a hefty pellet in there because if you guys watch my live streams normally, those pellets tend to disappear. They get taken by the large females who decide to, not share with anybody and just eat all their food. Nobody else gets any food. So I figure if I drop a big pellet in there, maybe we'll see the shrimp for a little bit longer. They won't take that pellet and run away. But I'm feeling pretty good today. I hope you guys are feeling good. You get 2 hours of me today. I am starting a half hour early because I am streaming with Big Tank Hank later on after this stream. So once my stream ends in an hour, there's going to be a half hour break, and then go check out Big Tank Hank on his channel, Garrick Alexander. We are going to just be talking about, life and aquatic things. And I really don't know. He asked if I wanted to come hang out on stream. I said, sure, why not? So it's going to be a lot of fun. Hope you guys can pop over there and, hang out with us. Let's see who we got in here today. About 7 of you, so not too many. That's okay. It'll build. We just started. Jamie, welcome. Hope you had a good day at work. I know you're worried about missing stream. Ben, Nevis Shrimp Takes, how are you, buddy? Welcome back. Glad to see you around the YouTube sphere and Facebook. And I still have your friends on Xbox, and I see your name pop up every now and then, and sit there and think, whatever happened to that guy? So we'll have to catch up here soon, and you'll have to tell us your story. You'll have to tell us of where you've been, the adventures you've seen. Shrimpful says hello from Germany. Hello from America. Hello from America. Aaron's Water Buddies, how are you? JR, welcome to the stream. Blue Water Aquariums, welcome. Jamie says quality, not quantity. Looks like we got an emoji bomb from JR. So big emoji bomb for all of our members. Thank you guys so much to all of my members, everybody out there who supports me, whether it's through super chats or memberships. You guys are awesome. Definitely appreciate it. Go ahead and send a big emoji bomb out there for all of my members. And if you would like to get some Poseidon's Pets emojis, feel free to become a member. I believe I have a command. Member. You member, I member. Jamie says, hello from Canada. And Nightbot says, become a member. Yeah, these guys are going to town. Oh, I'm getting some lag here on my end. It says my connection is unstable. Tough luck, Chuck. Should go unplug all of my other devices. Lob Singh, how are you? Says, what's up, brother? Happy to see you. Thanks for sharing knowledge. The shrimps I got from you are thriving and triplicating. Thanks. I'm glad you're enjoying them. I'm glad they're doing well for you. Good to see you on the live stream. Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, if you guys would like to get some shrimp from me, get some moss from me, I think I have a thing for that too. Let's see. I make all kinds of fun things for aquariums. Yeah, look at that. Check out PoseidonsPets.com. I'm all kinds of prepared. Look at that. Past Kyle sets up future Kyle for the swish. And he makes it. Jamie says, hashtag website. So there's some really interesting tiger varieties in this tank. Like if you look at the top left there, that large female with the dark end, if you catch her in the light, she's got some blue to her. So I'm guessing she is a Marii mix. So probably a Thai B, probably a Thai B, but she's got some blue in her and she looks really nice. So I always want to set up tanks for stuff like that, but then, if you're breeding shrimp, you want to have a tank for your breeders, you want to have a tank for baby grow outs, and then of course your culls or your selling stock. And so one type of shrimp, you could have 4 tanks. You got your breeders, you got your extra males, you got your grow out, and then whatever you're selling, you can combine your grow out with your selling if you wanted to. It's just, you got to have multiple tanks, hence the new tanks I set up or are setting up. And I don't know why my power cord keeps falling. 2 seconds, technical difficulties.
Now stand by, we got technical difficulties.
Ah, I see the problem. Oh, see, that's your problem right there. You're using a 1020 when you should be using a 330 elbow joint. Yeah. So today we are going to be talking about upgrades and changes I've made in the shrimp room. And so some of the upgrades I will say is I set up the central air system. So now I can run as many sponge filters as I want. Go ahead and drop a line, set up a new tank wherever I want. But problem right now I'm having is space. So I just filled the rack with more tanks. I could go higher, but I'm using that for my water jug storage as well as just miscellaneous stuff. I've got my, as you guys can see, my moss grow out greenhouse. I don't know what you're going to call it. Anything that I'm not using at this time, but I use weekly, I've been throwing up there. So, and this camera angle is really bothering me for some reason. 2 seconds. ADD. All right, let's see if we can make this a little better. There we go. I don't know why. It was just bugging me. It's because the shrimp weren't centered. They're still not centered, but it's better than it was. So I set up 7 new tanks on the shrimp rack. I'm waiting on a bag of Brightwell. So if any of you saw Brightwell Floor and Vulcanite went on sale on Amazon last week or the week before, and it was only $50. So $50 a bag. If you go and check right now, it's about $90. So Brightwell soil usually ranges from like $50 to $60, but in this last year, it's gone all the way up to $90. So my last bag before this one, I paid $90 for, which is a lot for Brightwell. So when it went on sale, I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and grab another bag. I also have a 14-liter bag of Akadama that I got, dropped $75 on that guy. So I'm going to do a 1-inch layer, 1.5-inch layer of the Brightwell in those tanks. And then I'm going to top it off with some Akadama. So the changes that I'm making is I've always done water changes religiously. I've always done like a light layer of soil. I am going more for that, deep substrate bed to see if maybe I can get some denitrifying bacteria to build in those anaerobic spots. So if I can get some anaerobic spots to get some denitrifying. Sorry, I'm distracted. I haven't seen babies in this tank since it crashed. So we'll come back to that. So if I can get some denitrifying bacteria to start colonizing in my tanks, what that's going to do is that's going to remove those nitrates. So nitrates will prevent your babies from growing. Nitrates will kill off your babies. It'll also affect your buried females. So having high nitrates is not good. Essentially what will happen is you'll end up with a tank of males. So if you have high nitrates, your males will do okay, but your buried females and your juveniles will start to start to struggle. So you may see babies and then you just won't see the juveniles anymore. They'll just start to disappear. And that's usually because of high nitrates. So what I want to do is I want to create this, pocket, this deep sand bed to create those anaerobic spots of bacteria. So that way I can help to, remove those nitrates without having to do water changes. Look at that big buried female. That's what I love to see in these tanks. So by adding that deep sand bed, that's going to allow me to cut back on water changes. And cutting back on water changes, I know some of you are like me, coming from fish. You're like, okay, you got to do water changes weekly. You got to do this, this, and this. And I've done that. This last 2 years, I've done water changes religiously. I've done water changes weekly. I've done 10%, 20%, 30%, bi-weekly, bi-monthly. Like it got to a point where I'm like, what works? Nothing I was doing was working. Either, it would work for a little bit and then the tanks would crash. It would do well for now and then the tanks would crash. And so I talked with Carrick Payton, who I always see his tanks on Facebook and they always look great. He's always got, huge old shrimp to where for me, like I can breed shrimp, I can get them going, but I never had the old shrimp. I never had those, older females. I would get a female, she'd breed for a while and then go. And, so I was just cycling through juveniles. I would get the buried females, they'd have a few berries and then they wouldn't last. So I was thinking about it. I'm like, okay, why can't I keep these shrimp alive? Why are my older shrimp just not doing well? And I think a lot of it had to do with water fluctuation in the parameters. So every time you do a water change, you're affecting pH, you're affecting TDS. I don't care how perfect you are with remineralizing. I don't care what you do. It's going to cause some type of fluctuation, whether that's temperature, whether that's TDS, whether it's pH. Something's going to change just a little bit. And I feel like that stresses them out. They don't like those changes. So I've been going to this new method of water testing instead of changing. So I test my water every week. I check the tanks to see who has high nitrates, and then I'll do a 20% water change in those tanks. So I've got about 2 or 3 tanks right now that I've been doing weekly water changes in just to get those nitrates down. But besides that, I haven't done a water change on my Nanashi tank in probably 2 months. And if you know my Nanashi tank, if you know my Black Devil tank, they've struggled. They've struggled from the start. I now have tons of juveniles in here. My deaths stopped. So whether that's the ADA soil just not doing well with water changes, I don't know what the case was, but I'm actually seeing these tanks doing well, and I believe it's because I haven't been doing water changes. The nitrates are, they're low. It's in the 5 range, so as long as it's not too high, I've been leaving it. So I've adapted this new model of don't touch it, like observe, but don't touch it. So if the nitrates get high, I do a water change. As soon as I see a death, I've been dosing Plamsky's Cure. So if you know Plamsky, he's a Plamsky Shrimp Farm. He's got some really good stuff called Cure on his website, and it's a antibacterial. It's for bacterial infection. So as soon as I see a death, if I find one dead shrimp, I dose the tank. So immediately. And that prevents, future deaths from what I've been seeing. Because in the past, I would see one death, and then the next day another, and then the next day, maybe 2 more, and then a third death. And so I was just watching. I had a little deli cup full of, dead shrimp that was just, it was second nature. I would do my death rounds every day, twice a day. I would check the tank because I would pull 1 or 2 out a day. And that's not how it's supposed to be. These shrimp can last up to 2 years. So I knew I was doing something wrong. So I knew it was time for a drastic change, like something, all the knowledge I've combined over the last 2 years, something I've been doing is just not right. And I couldn't pinpoint it. So I'm like, hey, let's go back to square one. Just stop. Everything you're doing, just stop. Stop doing what you're doing. I'm just gonna stop right now. All the feeding schedules, all the powdered foods, everything that you're doing, just water changes, just stop it. And I've got a little schedule going. I've been doing it for a couple months now, and it seems to be doing well. So that was a good 15-minute rant on some changes and updates in the shrimp room. Let's go ahead and catch up on chat. But thanks for listening to my life story this last couple months. Jamie says, ooh. Aaron's water buddies found my first orange coal from orange-eyed red Nanashies. There you go. So what's a coal from an orange-eyed red Nanashi? So is it just a orange shrimp? Nebish is back. Welcome back, Ben. Kevin Tam, how are you? Kevin Tam says, please show us your DIY lid. I haven't made them yet. The materials are sitting at Home Depot. I just got to go pick them up, so I'll do a video on it for you. Brandon says, hello. How are you, Brandon? Brandon says, I'm working on setting up a central air system. Any changes / insights on what you would do differently or keep the same? Honestly, I did pretty solid. The only thing I would have done differently is set it up from the start. If I could have set this thing up from the start instead of having to work around all the tanks and stuff, that's the only advice I can give. M. Meyer says, hey, buddy, long time no see. Happy to be here. Enjoy your beautiful shrimp. Thank you. Thank you. How are you? Jamie says, so my yellow Neo tank has decided to have a daily death run, probably down to 10 shrimp now. Water parameters are identical in all my tanks. Use Vogel with no luck. Have added Aquachar. Jamie, place an order for Plamsky's cure if you can. You can use my address. I'll put it in the box. Yeah, if you want to use my name, get some of that cure. That'll help a lot. It's something that, Carrick swears by. He told me, he said, don't set up any tanks. Don't set up anything else. Don't buy more substrate until you buy that. Like he was very adamant that my next investment would be cure. It's a little pricey, but it's not bad. So yeah, go check that out. Plamsky Shrimp Farm. It's called Cure. You can buy it in smaller bottles. I got a 40 milliliter, I think, which you only dose 1 milliliter per tank. So it can go a long way. And you only have to use one dose as soon as you see deaths. You may want to do more doses, but it's something that is supposed to help with mystery deaths. It's supposed to help with bacterial infections, as well as I want to call it old tank syndrome. It's where your colony's doing great and then all of a sudden it crashes. So yeah, go get some Plamsky cure. If he won't ship it to Canada, if you got to ship it to my house, then that's fine. I'll put it in your package. Kevin Tam says, do you use floaters to reduce nitrates? I do. So I have Salvinia minima in all of my tanks, but I have 2 tanks that are just jam-packed with shrimp. So I've got 2 tanks that are just absolutely full of shrimp. Once the other tanks are set up, I'm going to split the colony. But I have my pinto shrimp and my dragon bloods. So I've got probably 100 shrimp in each one of those tanks. And I can't keep up with the nitrates. My floaters, everything, I just can't keep up with it. So I either need to throw some pothos in there or I need to, separate the colonies out a little bit. Ben says, I've been following Carrick as well. Great tank setup. Yeah, he's a thinker, engineer personality like myself. So he's done everything I've done to where he's tried it all and it's just hasn't worked for him. So we were kind of in the same situation to where I've tried it all the normal stuff, and it just wasn't working for me. So by doing basically with him like taking me under his wing, which I definitely appreciate and I'm grateful for. That's why I bring up his name when I talk about this stuff, because I don't want to allude to the fact that these are my ideas or anything. I want to give credit where credit's due, and this is a telephone game. So if I'm saying something wrong and he's here, he can always correct. But I took notes from our phone call. I talked to him for about an hour one day, and he's a smart guy. He's got a lot of insight into the hobby, and he's done a lot of research into it. And I know he's found what works for him, so I've kind of adopted that schedule or parameters or routines, whatever you want to call it, the Carrick Payton way. Aaron's water buddy says it's just an orange. Coro says, don't forget that thumbs up, gang. So Coro, I've been thinking. I was thinking about it the other day, and I know you. Oh, Jamie, I'll tell you here in a second. You keep bugging for a what is it? A air pump giveaway. So I think I'm going to do it. The next stream I do a giveaway, I'm going to give away one of those Pawfly air pumps from when I broke down the system. I know you mentioned it a few times, like air pump giveaway with a question mark. So it'll probably cost me $5 to ship, and I've got 7 of them sitting in the box in the garage. So if somebody else could use it all, I'll give them away. They're not cheap pumps. They're $30 to $40. So they've got some decent price to them, but they're also not, super expensive. And let's see. Jamie says, how do you spell it? I'll post his website. I'll just look it up real quick. If I can type, wow, I don't know what that was, but that was not words. Lamski Shrimp Farm. So yeah, this stuff is amazing, and I don't know if it's a coincidence or what, but by using this stuff, I feel like I have prevented a lot of deaths. Anytime I find a death, one shrimp, I dose this stuff and I don't see any more. I don't see any more for a while. So that's something I can attest to. Like I don't even know where my shrimp graveyard is right now. It used to be sitting up on the table there. In all fairness, I have some polar convicts now, which is a platinum parrot cichlid in the shrimp room, which they are my hyenas or vultures of the shrimp room. Anytime I find a fresh death, I just toss it in there and they tear it up. LJ, is this Laura? Laura, did you change your name again? Citrus says, what's this cure called? I just posted the link, Citrus. Schnuffy, how are you? Welcome to the stream. LJ says, went to Lancaster Swap, got Opa Ule and Black Fancy Tigers. Very nice. Let me know how your Opa Ule do. I'd love to set up a tank for some Sulawesi. Those are really cool. Jamie says, those pumps are $70 here. I could probably ship you one if you want to pay the $20 shipping. Kevin says, any flame moss for sale? I have some Java moss that I don't have posted to the website, but no flame moss. Hi. Yeah. Hi. Laura says, tigers are low quality, but got for $10 each and very active and not shy. That's awesome. Says, I have a new logo. I'm selling Neo like crazy. Good. I'm glad they're doing good for you. Citra said, thank you. All right, we're caught up on chat. So yeah, if you're just joining us, excuse me, I went on a long tangent on things that I have changed in the shrimp room. So most of my tanks are doing awesome now. They're seeing a lot of, or I'm seeing a lot of babies, a lot of juveniles growing up. One thing I will say that I have noticed is since I'm not doing as many water changes, I'm not seeing as many buried females. So I feel like they're not molting as much, which is a good thing because a lot of people will force molts. They'll add water that's a little warmer or colder to force a molt. And every time your shrimp molts, that's a stressful experience. I feel like it takes time away from its life. It's like smoking cigarettes, every cigarette, every molt, it's taking away from the shrimp's life, which it's a natural process. Shrimps are supposed to molt. They need to molt. That's part of growing. But when you force a molt because a water parameter changes, it can stress the shrimp out, and it's not good for them. So that's one thing I've noticed since cutting back on water changes is I don't see as many molts. I don't see as many buried females, which I would much rather have, one buried female release 50 eggs and 25 of those survive versus, 5 females release 50 eggs and get maybe 10. So the ratio's not there. And then my females are going to last even longer. I did have a black Nanashi. You can see the egg tumbler there. I had a female Nanashi die a week ago, and she was fully loaded. She had about 50 eggs on her, so many. And the problem I'm having is they're getting fungus in the egg tumbler. So every few days I got to pull them out. I got to get rid of the ones that have the fungus on them so they're not affecting all the others. But I went to no water changes unless my nitrates get above 5. So I'm doing water tests instead of water changes. So testing the water parameters of my tanks weekly. If the nitrates are going above 5, then I'm doing a water change. And I'm not feeding a lot. So I feed powdered food every other day, a tiny, tiny amount. So I'll check this out. I'll show you guys what I've been feeding. And I had to make this. So I needed a measuring scoop that was small enough and that I could, control how much food I was putting in the tanks. See if that focuses, but you see how small that is? How tiny this is? So I would say that's, smaller than like a grain of rice. It's a very, very little amount of powdered food. And I almost feel like this is too much. So if my nitrates are getting too high in a tank and I'm constantly having to do water changes, I know I'm overfeeding in that tank, or there's too many shrimp or not enough plants. So the goal is to get that balance. You want that balance of, plants, balance of food, balance of right amount of shrimp. So that way you're not having to do water changes all the time. And I know there's a lot of folks who go for that more natural look to their tanks. And there's a shop, I want to say in San Francisco, Aquarium Co-op, Corey, he did a video on this shop. And this gentleman at San Francisco, he's been keeping shrimp and fish for years, and his tanks are all beautiful. He doesn't do water changes, or if he does, very little. But he's got deep sand substrates, so 4 or 5 inches of substrate, and that substrate is enough to create these, denitrifying bacteria pockets or anaerobic pockets that nitrate can, break down. So by creating these anaerobic pockets, the nitrates are able to be broken down by that bacteria, so you don't have to do water changes. The main thing you want to look and keep an eye on is your TDS. You want to make sure your TDS isn't creeping up there, as well as your GH, because as your water evaporates, you're going to replenish it with RO water, but you can still get that TDS creep. So you want to watch out for that. And if you need to, monitor that TDS or correct it, just 8 ounces of tank water, take that out, add 8 ounces of RO. So do smaller water changes every day to bring that TDS back down. Jamie says $45 for 60 milliliters. Yeah, that's what that was my hang up, but it is worth every penny. So I will say that 100%. He could charge double, and I would say it's still worth it. But let's catch up on chat real quick. And Meyer says, so Kyle, when are you getting that Poseidon tattoo? Probably when I pay off the shrimp room. Tattoos are expensive. So we're going to get a trident here for Poseidon and the YouTube channel, just kind of as a token of the hobby and the YouTube channel. Tattoos are not cheap, so once I pay off some stuff, then I'll do something like that. Jamie says, I got 6 of those bumps already. Next I'll buy is an inline piston. There you go. Well, I figured I would offer since I got so many laying around. So Steven 1774 says, how much flow do I need for a 30-gallon low saltwater tank? Thanks. I've never kept saltwater before, so I couldn't tell you. I know most saltwater tanks do have overflows, though. They require a lot of oxygen, so it depends on what kind of setup you're going for, but most of them have some type of, wave maker or sump that you can control the flow with. Snuffy says, can I ask you something? Go for it, Snuffy. Aaron says, my new Caradita tank is almost ready for shrimp. Got tons of biofilm and algae everywhere. Let me know when you're ready for shrimp. Maybe we can cut a deal. Jamie says, that's like $1 per milliliter Canadian for me. Yeah, but think about the cost of your shrimp. How much were those Neos you lost? You could have paid for it just with shrimp. What was that black one ran by in the video? Opposite of Santa? Grim Reaper? I don't know, but that sounds cool. I wish I could go back. 401. I'll have to look at chat and see which one you were talking about. Meyer says, yeah, the older Asian dude. I saw that video. Yeah, he's I still think back to that video, and my 60-gallon, I actually have a deep sand substrate because of that. My lovely wife, Amber, she says, hey, shrimp nerds. Meyer says, it's a really cool idea. Looking forward to see the results. Crown Tail, welcome, welcome. How are you? All right, let's go ahead and do a emoji bomb for all our members. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. Do a quick shameless plug. If you would like to become a member of the Poseidon's Pets Posse and get access to all of these shrimp emojis, feel free to become a member. All proceeds go back to you guys in the form of giveaways, as well as it helps to support the shrimp and myself. There's a lot of tang ties in this tank and a lot of Serrata coals. So you can see there's tons of tangerine tiger coals. Stay hydrated. Been talking for 35 minutes straight. You guys can get some water ASMR. I don't know who those ASMR videos are for, but if that's what you like, go for it. It just doesn't do it for me. All right, Snuffy got that question. So, part one, I am still a beginner and have had a strain of shrimp in my aquarium for 2 months. Now I had a second strain without a quarantine tank. After 5 days, 10 shrimp died up to a week ago. I've been doing large water changes, but am unsure about draining the tank completely and putting it back in because of the cross. The cross contamination. Also, if I should throw away all the plants, etc. So is it your new shrimp that are dying? Is it your old shrimp that are dying? How big's the tank? What kind of shrimp are they? Lot of things are going through my mind. Blue Water Aquarium says, how are the crossbreeding projects going? So Blue Water, one thing you will find with myself is I suffer from something called ADD. And you will find that my crossbreeding projects will start and then I don't have the patience to finish them. And I'll end up either, throwing all of them into the coal tank, or I will separate them back out into their own tanks. So currently I have broken down the crystal and blue bolt crossbreeding project. I ended up selling all the blue bolts, and all I have left in that 20-gallon is the crystal shrimp. My orange eye black devil and dragon blood tank was not doing well, so I took all of the blue dragon bloods out and added them to my blue dragon blood tank, and now that's all that's left in there is the orange eye black devils. And the simple reason for that is I wanted to breed the orange eye black devils themselves to build the colony. And once I get a tank that's stable, I would like to redo the crossbreeding project with a couple females from the orange eyes and then just a male from the blue dragon bloods, and kind of see what happens there. So a lot of my crossbreeding projects have been put on hold for the time being, and a lot of that had to do with the whole reason for this stream. So the last couple of years, I've really struggled to keep shrimp alive. I've really struggled to have successful tanks. I would have mediocre tanks at best. So I decided to focus on making sure all the tanks are good, all the shrimp are breeding, all the shrimp are happy, and I can keep them alive before I did the crossbreeding projects. So I basically changed everything that I did. I stopped my feeding schedule. I stopped my water changes. I stopped doing everything that I was doing and revamped everything, did more research. And now I'm not doing any more water changes. I'm just testing my tanks for nitrates. And then if the nitrates are above 5, I do a 20% water change. But the goal is no water changes and low nitrates. So however you got to go about doing that. Coral says only 10 likes. Let's bump those numbers up. Beta Aquatic says hi all. Laura says, giving up already. Coro Crew Bolt. Jamie with the ADD American Dirty Dancing. Steffi says both shrimps died. It's a 27-liter tank. Parameters all fine, and it's 11 mixed shrimps from one mixed tank from seller, 5 blue iced mixed bolts, and 11 metallic tiger shrimps. So there's a lot of things that could have happened. It could have been a bacterial infection. It could have been something like a water change. So a 27 liter is smaller than 10 gallons. That's about 9 gallons, which smaller tanks are harder to get those parameters to be stable. So if you're doing Caridina, what what water parameters were you using? What kind of substrate did you have? So there's a lot of factors there. I can't imagine that you just got some, sick shrimp that affected everything, but it's possible. And that's why you always want to make sure you get your shrimp from a reputable breeder. Crowntail says, Jamie, I think it's addictive, not American. Blue Water Aquarium says, what test kit are you using? I'm using the API liquid test kit. It is a pain in the butt, but I'll show you what I've been doing. Oh, see if I could reach it. So years ago when I started getting mini tanks, Amber went out and bought me this. So she got it on Amazon, and it is it's like a 25 vial with caps. So if you've ever used an API test kit, they've got those little push-on plastic caps. You shake them, and then your hands are just covered in these chemicals that, if you read the back of them, a lot of them say caustic, wear gloves, cancerous. And so, every time you test the water, you're getting that stuff on your hands. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking, like, I'm just poisoning myself. So these are nice because they're screw on. You can reuse them, wash them. And I'll do about 7 in a row. So I'll go from tank to tank and fill up each vial. I have a medicine dropper that I take 5 milliliters out, do all my drops, and then put my hand over this, and I just shake the whole thing. So I can do all 21 tanks in 3 runs. So it's a little time consuming. I've got it down to under an hour, which isn't bad, because if you look at the time it takes to do water changes, it can take well over an hour to do water changes in 21 tanks if you're following a weekly schedule. So test, don't water change, but this has worked really well for me. Kyle, do not forget that you have water test vials on this table when you go to remove it into the other room. It will fall on the ground and break. Lady Rorschach, how are you? Welcome to the stream. Cherie, welcome. Jamie says, I think Kyle missed the ADD joke. He said American Dirty Dancing. I am a fat man. I don't do Dirty Dancing. Maybe I skipped it subconsciously. I read it, but I just didn't click on it. Squirrel. Yeah. Dr. Anthony, how are you? Welcome to the stream. Beta Aquatic says, super cool. Water testing made easier. Absolutely. It's been helpful. And in the 2 years I've had it, I've only broken 4. So I've only broken 4 out of the 25 or so that's in there. It's not too bad. I'm going to put this on the ground. I know myself, as soon as I move that table, I'm going to forget it's there. Or what's going to happen is I'm going to step on that and break all of them. I broke a glass lid the other day by stepping on it. I was so mad. Ling Ling says, what temp do you keep your Caridina shrimps at? Let's see. It is currently 75 in the shrimp room. So depending on, it doesn't feel like it's 75 in here. Depending on the time of year and the tanks. But I have so much airflow in all of my tanks that I can't imagine they get above 75. Steffi says, have Akadama substrate. TDS is about 316. Nitrate test was white, clear, no ammonia, no nitrite. And I'm sure if I can put some time later some new shrimp to that tank. So your TDS is kind of high. For Caridina tank, you want to have anywhere from 100 to 120. So I would get a GH and KH test kit. Are you using RO water or are you remineralizing? Because if you're doing Caridina shrimp, you want to get pure RO and remineralize. Jamie says, what do you have in the vials now? So some of them look like something or other. And then some of them kind of look like Kool-Aid. So you can see, I know this is a couple days old, so let's look at it. So like this here, that's my Neo tank. So the Neos are loving some nitrate tea, as you see, but they're breeding pretty good. That it's on tap water, so I'm starting to think that my tap water may have some stuff in it. That is my Orange Eye King Kong tank. So you see there's virtually no nitrate in that tank. This is my mixed moss tank. So it's a 20-gallon mixed moss. That's where all my mixed moss comes from. So I think all of that moss in there is helping with those nitrates. This is my mixed Caridina. So you can see there's a little bit of nitrates in there. Not bad. It's still under 5. But that tank is that's my moss farm. That's where all of my moss comes from. This is my crystal tank. And this is as long as these are still in order, this is the crystal tank. So this is where I have all of my Java moss. That's my Java moss farm. And it's a 20-gallon with at least 50 crystals. But you could see, maybe, you see all this Java moss? There's how do I point to that one? There's absolutely a ton of moss in this tank. So it goes to show that all of my tanks, all my moss farms, the tanks that have all my moss growing in it, are doing fantastic and don't have a lot of nitrates. And then we move on to the 5 gallons, which have quite a bit of shrimp, but they also have quite a bit of moss in them too. So you can see that, yeah, there's some nitrates in there, but it's not enough that I would want to do a water change on. And I'm sure just by looking at these, I can find my, let's see, where is the, yep, I would say those two there. Yeah. So this, you can see the darkness of those. So that's my Pinto tank and my Dragon Blood tank, which those are my 2 highest stocked tanks. So because they're such heavily stocked tanks, there's tons of nitrates in there. And the only reason I know what tank is what, I go in a row as I fill that out. Plus, I've been testing these tanks for the last 2 months. I've gotten a good idea of which tanks I know are going to have nitrates, which tanks are going to be fine. So it's not a surprise to me anymore. I'm starting to learn like which tanks are doing well. And I stopped feeding my tanks. And when I say I stopped feeding my tanks, I mean, I don't feed a lot. If you look at my feeding schedule, so on Sunday, I fed a powdered food. On Monday, I fed some spinach. And then Tuesday, I did another powdered food. Skipped Wednesday, and then I did powdered food Thursday, snowflake food on Friday, and then a powdered food on Saturday. So I'm trying not to feed every day. And if there's a day that falls on a feeding day, I basically alternate between pellets and spinach. And so say today's a spinach day, I wouldn't feed powder. Say today was a pellet day, I wouldn't feed powder. And the reason why is look at this tank right now. Do you see all the stuff coming up out of that food? Do you see all that floating bits? So all of those little floating bits is getting spread throughout the tank. So there's no need to feed powdered food. the Shrimp Envy line of food, it's going to feed the whole tank, which is nice because Rob and Shree, they use a lot of powdered foods in their pellets already. So it's already doing its thing. So there's no need to feed a pellet food. And if you've ever fed blanched spinach, when you feed blanched spinach, it does the exact same thing. You get all of these little particles coming off on it. So there's no need. All right, let's catch up on chat. And then we got about 5 minutes, and then I got to go jump in with Big Tank Hank. So we'll have a half-hour break, and then you can rejoin us over at Hank's channel. Rob says water change Wednesday complete. There you go. All the shrimp got a bath. Big Tank Hank, welcome to the stream, buddy. Rob, welcome. Dee Dee, how are you? Jeff Kane, welcome, welcome. Bad Aquatic says, oh my God, Kyle is only on live stream. They get food. I swear they know. Like I'll turn the lights on and like start setting stuff up, and then they get excited. Brandon says, how often would you feed blanched spinach to Caradinas? Don't they have lots of minerals? I feed it once a week, roughly once a week. So I will feed spinach, skip 2 days, feed a pellet food, skip 2 days, and then feed spinach. So spinach, 1, 2, pellet, 1, 2. So yeah, it's about every 7 days they get some spinach. And it's been working well. I've seen tons of baby survival. I've seen tons of the juveniles. So I feel like it's definitely helping, and I feel like they're getting a more balanced diet. And then I feed pellet or a powdered food every other day. And for those of you just jumping in, the amount of powdered food I feed is minuscule. So you see that? You see how small this thing is? So this is my 3D printed spoon, and I'm thinking about putting these on the website. This literally takes 15 seconds to print. Like I think it's under a minute, something like that. So I wouldn't feel comfortable charging for these, but I'm tempted to put it on the website for like a penny. So if you wanted to get one of my little powder spoons, and just know when it comes, like, there's nothing to this. I didn't make this to sell. So when you get it, don't feel, like, okay, this thing is. And what I like about the flimsiness is I'll scoop it, I'll level it off, and then I just put it in the tank and I flick it. So I'll flick it, and then all that powder kind of scatters. So this has been working really well. I think I printed like 4 or 5 of them before I landed on this design. And I think I'm going to throw them on the website though. Like I said, I'll put it on the website for like a cent, like a penny. So please don't spend $10 shipping and a penny to get this. Like if you're going to order this, can you like get something else so I don't feel bad about just charging you $10 for a little spoon. Aaron's Water Buddy says my shrimp really like French cut green beans. There you go. Jamie, thanks for sharing Hank's channel. Ulysses, welcome to the stream. Daniel Valles, how are you? Welcome, welcome. Steffi says, sorry, I'm back. Had lost connection, so I didn't hear your answer. No worries. So I I had mentioned that your TDS is kind of high for Caridina shrimp. So you want to get a test kit and test your GH and KH. And if you're not already, you should be using pure RO water with a remineralizer. So you want to remineralize to about 100 or 110 TDS, because that's going to make sure that your parameters are spot on. And then I'm not sure how often you were doing water changes. There's a lot of factors that can go into what's wrong with your shrimp. If you want to ask me more questions, feel free to email me. If one of the mods want to throw my email up for me, and then we can talk that way. Or I'm on Facebook Messenger. You can get me on Facebook as well. Oh, look at that guy in the left-hand corner. There's a couple shrimp from the Black King Kong Extreme Blue Bolt crossbreeding that look amazing. So they've got these really cool dark blue colors with the black bodies. Jeff Kane says, Kyle, are you able to put the spoon on your site as an add-on only item? I could probably look it up and see. Or if you really just want the spoon, like email me. I do custom orders, and if you like, communication is key. I'm pretty accommodating. The website is a great way to support the hobby, but I'm not trying to create a living on it. I just appreciate any orders you guys get. And if you place an order with me, you could ask anybody that's in here. I usually throw in a bunch of freebies. So I'm always printing stuff, and sometimes things don't turn out the way I want them, and I won't sell them if they don't look really well. So a lot of times I'll have stuff that just maybe didn't print very well, or I'll have extra things and I just toss it in the box. So the website's nice, and it definitely helps support the hobby, but I'm not trying to pay all my bills with it. I'm not trying to make a ton of money off this. It's just more of a way of sharing my stuff with everybody. All right, so we're going to have to end it here. But Schneffy says in Germany, we measure the TDS value in a different unit. Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, GH and KH is what I would want to know, because that'll help me a lot. And then Schneffy says, thanks, that I can message you on Facebook if I have more questions. Yeah, I think I've got... Ooh, why am I in all caps? I'm yelling at everybody. So I think Facebook... What did DD say? Oh, Didi said, I went through the same thing for about 3 days. Yeah, it's no fun when you're losing shrimp. I guess I'm kind of numb to the losing shrimp thing after just flushing tanks. And it happens. What I've learned to do is, don't focus on the one tank that's struggling. Focus on the ones that are doing really well, because it's going to happen, and it's tough. But I feel like I've jumped leaps and bounds in these last couple months over the last few years I've had. At least I feel more confident in it. But yeah, Indie Fish the Oscar. Yep, that's me. Indie Fish. Okay, so yeah, we are going to go ahead and end the stream. So half-hour intermission. Go check out Big Tank Hank. I'll grab his channel again real soon. We are going to be doing a stream on his channel. So come hang out, come talk. Big Bank Hank? There's a Big Bank Hank. Oh, geez. He's got an intro video, and that was so loud. That scared the heck out of me. Okay. Jamie's back. He had to go go puppy pee. Don't pee on your puppies. But go check out Big Tank Hank. We are going to be streaming in about a half hour or so. 5 o'clock my time, 7 o'clock his time. So come back, see us, grab some water, go check out the aquarium co-op stream, whatever you got to do. But we are going to end it. I'm going to go talk to Hank. But thank you guys so much for coming in and listening to me ramble. I appreciate it. You guys are all awesome. I appreciate all of you, and I appreciate all of your support. You guys are fantastic. You're fantastic, everyone. So thank you guys so much for coming in, hanging out with me. I always enjoy talking with you and being able to share my knowledge. So thank you guys so much, and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye. Goodbye. Bye-bye.